Tyler Herro had something to say about his fit in Miami's offense that some fans are already a bit concerned with. Plus, we look ahead to a matchup versus Milwaukee. Can the Heat make it 6 straight wins?
Yes.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, welcome to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, thanks so much for making us your first listen every day. Join the Cookie Gang and become an everydayer. That means subscribing, tuning in every day, Monday through Friday, and signing up to the Locked On Heat text line with the link in the show notes. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. I'm Wes Goldberg, host of Locked On NBA Daily and Real GM Radio. I'm here with David Ramil. Both of us are credentialed Heat media members who cover this team every day. Have a jam-packed show for you today. We're going to talk about tonight's game against the Milwaukee Bucks in a second. We're also going to look at the chances of Erik Spoelstra, Jaime Jaquez Jr., and Bam Adebayo taking home some end-of-season awards. But I want to start with these recent quotes. And I want to see what you're making out of them, David. So the first one, last night, after his first game back this season, Tyler Herro hinted that the offense could add more pick and rolls. When asked if there's going to be an adjustment to being involved in fewer pick and rolls this season after the game, Tyler Herro said, quote, "A little bit. A couple of times I was ready to call Kel'el up like, let's go pick and roll. But just being conscious of it, I think as the season goes on, we're going to have to mix in a couple pick and rolls here and there. But at the end of the day, it's about the patterns of recognition that our offense is kind of based on, the way we move without the ball, the spots we're supposed to be in," end quote. David, it's time for one of our favorite old segments. Is this something or is it nothing?
It's both. It's something and nothing, because I think he's being pilloried for saying something that just comes across as, I know what you all been doing over the first couple of weeks this season looks really nice and people are really excited, but I think the way the fans are taking it is, yeah, I'm back now and we're going to change the way we've been doing things to accommodate me. At least that's how I've seen some of the responses from fans look like. It seems like Tyler is making the kind of statements like, yeah, I get it, but at the same time, I know we're going to have to run more pick and roll. And I can see why that's viewed that way, because he was the X factor. And again, we've talked about this before, leading up into his return to Miami. This is the second time that Miami has been able to accomplish something, the first time being the 2023 run to the NBA Finals, where Tyler's absence kind of made fans consider, is the team actually better without him? And I think now we've seen this incredible leap. Miami's offense is flourishing. They're exciting to watch for the first time in about 5 years. And I don't think a lot of people associate that offense and think, oh, you know what? Maybe Tyler would, as his absence may have contributed to Miami looking as good as they have. And so I think that's part of the problem, is that now he comes in his first game back, winds up leading the team in scoring in his first night, and then all of a sudden has these comments like, yeah, let's change things. I don't think that's what he was saying. That was the something part of it. This is the nothing part of it. The nothing part of it is, you know what? It's an admission that over the course of 82 games, sometimes you're going to have to tweak the offense just a little bit. What you do all the time can't work in the NBA. That's not how NBA offenses work. Sometimes things fall apart. Sometimes things feel a little flattened out. Sometimes you have to go to what works, what's normal, and what's easier, or what you're allowed to do, because you're going to face a number of different defenses. We've already seen Miami have to go through these kinds of adjustments, even leading up to Tyler's return. A lot more teams are throwing the zone at Miami than we've ever seen in any previous season, because Miami's offense can be slowed down a little bit with the zone defense. It forces them to look at different shots and have to explore different opportunities. And I think that's what Miami has looked like over the last few weeks. We've talked about this a number of times. I think it started versus the New York Knicks, and then it kind of has built from there. Every team Miami has faced since then seems like they're going more and more zone against the Heat. And I think at some point when the zone is in there, you're going to have to change the way that you do things offensively, hence leading to more PNRs. So I think there's that dichotomous kind of, dual-sided interpretation of Tyler's comments. It's like, oh, is he trying to hijack the offense? Or versus what I see, which is, you know what? He's admitting it's a struggle for him. He wants to be able to buy in and fit into it immediately. but that's not how he's been. That's not his whole NBA career has not been predicated on what we're seeing for the first 3 weeks of this season. And so it's easy for him to go to what's the default nature of seeking a pick and roll, and trying to accommodate that, incorporate that into his offense. So I don't think there's anything to it really that's supposed to be as caustic or as self-aggrandizing, perhaps, is what fans are making it out to be. Some fans, I should say, are making it out to be.
This is a bit of a Rorschach test if you are in the team of I dislike Tyler Herro. You're going to see this quote and be like, see, this is this is what I was telling you. This is why it's not going to work with this guy.
Right.
And then
that butterfly is holding a machine gun at me in the Rorschach test.
Right. Or if you're on the other side, which I call the sensible side, you look at this exactly the way that you're describing it, David. It's both something and it's nothing. It's not what some fans are making it out to be, which is exhibit 267 of why Tyler Herro needs to get traded right away and why Tyler Herro is a bum, right? Which you and I don't believe that to be the case. By the way, he won the game for the Heat in that game. He was the leading scorer. And yes, the pace was down. That wasn't because of Tyler Herro. Watch the game. Yeah. I've also seen, oh, wow, one of Miami's slowest paces of the season. Guess what changed? And it's, what's changed was the second night of a back-to-back against the third best defense in the league. That's what changed. Tyler Herro was the reason they won that game. And so what he's saying, though, is true. And we're already starting to see it. I would say over the last week and a half, we've seen Erik Spoelstra run a few more pick and roll just here and there opportunistically. The game there was a couple of games ago where the first possession out of the gate of the game was an Andrew Wiggins, Bam Adebayo pick and roll.
Yep.
Tyler Herro had not played yet. That had nothing to do with Tyler Herro. We have seen multiple instances where out of a timeout, Spo will queue up a pick and roll. We have seen them opportunistically use pick and roll here and there because they want to just use a little bit. They're not running 0 pick and roll. They're running between 10 and 15 pick and roll per game.
Still less than everybody else.
Way less than anybody else has basically ever done. But there's still a little bit of it in there. And here's one thing we know about Erik Spoelstra. He's not going to be rigid in his system. You know how we know that? Because he threw away the old one and started this one. If he was rigid with his system, he wouldn't have done that in the first place. Erik Spoelstra isn't here as some sort of 0 pick and roll, Mike D'Antoni style agnostic, where it's like, this is the only way we can play and it's the only way we'll ever play. And if you can't fit in, well, then you're going to fit out and I'm going to trade you. And it's not going to work. Spo is going to adjust to the personnel that he has. And if and more importantly, he's going to do whatever it takes to win the game, right? He's going to make the sausage and he doesn't care if you see how it's made or not. And if that's going to require dialing up the pick and roll a little bit more, then so be it. I also think that's going to help Kel'el Ware. I think it'll also help Bam Adebayo. Offensively, they haven't had their lead pick and roll playmaker all season long. That's Tyler Herro. When he comes back, it almost makes sense to do a little bit more pick and roll. Still, Tyler Herro is going to adjust. He's going to play faster. You and I called him out after the game. I thought his decision making was a little slow. Even Erik Spoelstra talked about it after the game. He thought that he passed up a few pull-up threes that were there. He'll see it on film and he'll get to it. There's going to be rust. It's a steep learning curve to figure out this offense. We know that because we saw everybody else go through it. Tyler Herro hasn't gotten a chance to go through it on the court yet. He'll get there. I'm not worried about it. Last one, something or nothing. Bam Adebayo was asked about Davion Mitchell the other day. He had some high praise about Davion off night wearing the t-shirt. Here's what Bam said.
I love Davion, man. He makes plays. He makes the offense easy for us. And on the other end, he does what he does, which is impact winning. So when you have a guy like that, that's obviously his assist to turnover ratio is crazy. What is that, number 1 in the league? Playing at that pace, we're playing to how he's wired, and I feel like he's really starting to understand that he fits in here, he belongs here, and I'm thankful to have him.
David, let's wrap this up in 60 seconds. Something or nothing.
Something. I think it's great. I think that Bam recognizes what a player and what an impactful player Davion's been, and he's been a hell of an addition since Miami traded for him last offseason, and he's continued to flourish in that regard from a guy who was basically let go of completely around the league and that his value was at an all-time low. He's found a way to thrive as both a starter and a backup here in Miami.
I think it's something. I don't know. It's, again, the something that some people want to make it out to be, which is Davion has to start. This is Bam.
Oh no,
Kind of doing, and maybe Davion does have to start. We talked about it, in the show last night. David, this is a tough decision for Erik Spoelstra to make, and unfortunately, you can't start 6 players. And it feels like this team has 6 legitimate starters who all do something very specific and very helpful for that starting lineup that you can't really take out. It's going to be tough. I think you brought it up about maybe some nights you're starting Davion, maybe other nights you're starting Kel'el Ware, and you're just always starting Powell, Herro, Wiggs, and Bam.
Yep.
Maybe that's an option here. But Davion's been awesome for this team. And we saw him last year, right? He was great as a starter. He was also great coming off the bench. And I have a feeling Davion's going to be closing a lot of games, even if he isn't starting. Meanwhile, Jaime Jaquez Jr. isn't starting, but he is one of the leaders for Sixth Man of the Year. Bam Adebayo, Defensive Player of the Year. Erik Spoelstra, Coach of the Year. Who is more likely to win an award this season? We're going to talk all about all of that next here on Locked On Heat.
Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Basketball season is officially here. Nothing beats being in the arena for those opening games. But let's be real, getting tickets can be a total headache. Between waiting in queues, surprise fees, and prices that jump right before checkout, it's easy to get frustrated when all you want to do is cheer on your team, especially this version of the Heat. Who doesn't want to go see the arena on purpose? Look, the weather's getting cooler. These are the nights out in Biscayne Bay that make being a Heat fan worth it, because you go out there, the nights are cool, the weather's great, it stopped raining, and you go out there to one of the best arenas in the NBA to see your team. And the way to do it is by getting tickets via Game Time. It's the app that gives fans the advantage. It's your ultimate life hack for scoring amazing NBA tickets fast, easy, and stress-free. So many reasons why Game Time makes it easy for you. It makes the prices affordable. It gets you what you want quickly, and you can see exactly where you're going to be sitting. Let's say you've never been to the arena before, maybe any other venue. It doesn't have to just be basketball. It can get you tickets for any NBA game, also baseball, concerts, comedy shows, whatever you're looking for, you'll find it on Game Time. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONNBA, get $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. That's code LOCKEDONNBA, LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. That's Game Time. We'll be right back.
Thanks for making Locked On Heat your first listen of the day. And thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. David, people are starting to talk about awards for this season. 3 members of the Heat are potential candidates. Jaime Jaquez Jr. for Sixth Man of the Year, Bam Adebayo for Defensive Player of the Year, and Erik Spoelstra for Coach of the Year. We mentioned this before, but FanDuel has Jaime Jaquez Jr. as the favorite to win Sixth Man of the Year. Spo is among the leaders for Coach of the Year. Bam is among the leaders for Defensive Player of the Year. But if we had to vote right now, who do you think has the best case to win an award right now between those 3?
It's a tough question, because I think Bam Adebayo has done a phenomenal job, and it almost feels like this is deserving based on his past accomplishments, but it almost feels like the rest of the league kind of views the Defensive Player of the Year as like, oh, damn, Wembanyama wasn't available to get it, and whoever gets it in his place, I guess, is kind of sort of deserving. But the way the hype had been built up over the first few weeks of the season regarding Wemby's impact defensively, I thought it was his award to lose, and it kind of, you get that sense that it might be that way for the next few seasons as well. Like, it's kind of just written in pencil right now. It's the Victor Wembanyama Award for at least a few more seasons, depending on whether or not he's healthy enough. So I think Bam has a shot, but I honestly think that opportunity is almost passed by to a sense. So it's like, kind of like, it's going to be different players who will get recognition from different sectors of the media punditry to kind of say, you know what, I like his defense. I like his defense. A guy like Amen Thompson's definitely going to get some votes. A guy like Bam, obviously, Evan Mobley's going to be getting some attention as well. So you're going to have a lot of different players who kind of split that vote amongst them. So to me, I think Bam's out. Spoelstra similarly.
Whoa. Well, hold on. You think Bam's out?
Oh, yeah. There's no chance. Those days are over.
Oh, wow. I
don't know where he is right now in the FanDuel voting, but to be honest with you.
So FanDuel has him behind Chet Holmgren, Victor Wembanyama, Evan Mobley, Amen Thompson, Dyson Daniels, and then it's Bam at plus 2,000. So to your point, his odds are pretty far. Like, Chet is plus 130, the overwhelming favorite right now. I don't know that I I think Chet Holmgren's phenomenal defensively, and when I say what I'm about to say, I'm not taking anything away from Chet necessarily, but I just
Get away because I'm all in on that.
I haven't seen anything from Chet where I'm just like, whoa, that's the defensive player of the year. There's not a better defender in the league than that guy. He's awesome. He is tremendous. He is a big part of the Oklahoma City Thunder defense. There's no question about it. As good as the Thunder defense is, it wouldn't be as good as it is right now without Chet. And I'm fully acknowledging that. But I've never watched a Thunder game and been like, that's the best defender in the league. There's nights where I'm not even sure he's the best defender on his own team. So, yeah.
You got Lou Dort. You got Alex Caruso.
Dort was my vote last year.
Yeah, I know.
Wemby, the only reason Wemby doesn't win this is if he doesn't play enough games, which right now it looks like a longish shot that he plays enough games that he qualifies for the 65-game rule.
Right.
Evan Mobley has not been as good as he was last year.
No.
Amen Thompson's been great, but he hasn't really hit that, oh my God, the next Kawhi Leonard in terms of perimeter defense levels just yet this season. So I think there's some wind that's coming out of his sails. Dyson Daniels has not been as good as he was last year. And Dyson Daniels is in that tricky spot where he almost has to match the historic steal rate and deflection rate that he had last year for anybody to even care. And I just don't see that happening. Fairly or not, that's sort of where he's at. I think Bam has a legitimate shot. The Heat are fourth right now in defensive rating. If they're a top 4 seed in the East and Wemby does not qualify and this team finishes top 5 defensively, given the pace that they're playing at, I think there's going to be a lot of people looking for a reason to vote for Bam because everybody kind of understands he probably should have had one by now. And if there's no other clear front runner, I think he's got as good a shot as anybody else.
I'm never going to buy into it. Never.
You're probably right. Look, you are honestly probably right because he probably should have had one by now and he doesn't.
He should probably have 2 by now. He should probably have 2.
Marcus Smart didn't earn it.
Marcus Smart.
And Jaren Jackson Jr. shouldn't have gotten it either. Bam should have had it both of those years. In terms of Jaime Jaquez Jr., I think this is the answer.
Yeah, 100%. I'm sorry. We glossed over Erik Spoelstra there because I thought that was the next. To me, it was the most. The next least likely was Spoelstra. Like again, that's a lifetime achievement award. And I've seen people kind of say, well, this is a season because he's done something he's never done before, which is totally revamp an offense, has him under this high octane, kind of juicing the numbers sort of thing. And yes, that's an incredible testament to Spoelstra's willingness to change. And I love that Spoelstra has acknowledged it's like, look, we've seen this roster, we've seen what it's capable of, and we had to change things around in order to maximize what we're capable of. You and I talked about this at length during the offseason, looking at what this team was, failing to acquire a superstar because we knew they weren't going all in on Kevin Durant, and saying, well, look at this team that we have and what is this team is capable of. We kind of predicted this was exactly what they were going to be leaning into, and it's worked out that way, putting up a lot of threes, playing at a faster pace than they ever have before. We were just kind of dubious that Erik Spoelstra was actually going to be able to incorporate this and to implement it as successfully as he has, and yet that's exactly the case. And Spo deserves a lot of credit for changing things around this drastically. But I just don't know that that's how voting works for Coach of the Year. It's almost like, oh, you've got this team and you do something different with it. That's not what it's the award is almost basically, oh, you took this really okay team and made them really great. That's what
is that not what Spo is doing?
I don't think everybody acknowledges that they're really great. That's the thing.
Well, if they finish with a certain record in a certain place in the standings,
50 plus,
then there's no way to. Yeah, I mean, if they're a top 4 seed in the East,
but it has to be 50 plus wins. Okay. He has to take a mediocre team. I'm doing air quotes for people who can't see that, not on YouTube, but a mediocre team as they were during the offseason, or at least the perception of them, and turn them into a 50+ win. They were a mediocre team last year. They were in the play. No, that's fair. That's fair. But I mean, the Norm Powell acquisition has worked out beautifully. Yeah, and maybe a lot of people didn't anticipate that either. But so I think that would be the baseline for him to get that well-deserved award.
I do think he's got
a puncher's chance.
Yeah, I think he's got a good chance. I think it's a little bit like Bam, where there's going to be a little bit of a lifetime achievement thing built into his case, whether or not rightly or wrongly, and whether or not anybody wants to admit it, it'll be in there. And also, there's the problem with Spo, and the reason why he hasn't had it is pretty much because he's always been here. Like, if Erik Spoelstra had been fired by the Miami Heat, he would have a Coach of the Year award by now. because he would have landed somewhere else and transformed that team. And that's the easiest A to B to C thing that voters can do. Old coach bad, new coach good, coach of the year. But because Spo's been around for so long, you almost just don't notice him, right? You don't notice the year-to-year changes. This is the most dramatic, clear-cut change that an Erik Spoelstra team has ever had, outside of just adding LeBron James to the mix. And I think that is a narrative thing that people like. That's something that people can hang on to and go back to and build the narrative case, because Coach of the Year is the most narrative award that there is, because there's really no other stats to judge it by other than wins. And there's a lot of teams that win a lot of games that are around the same amount of wins. So it's hard to differentiate. And that's why you need a narrative like hook. And the hook right now is, oh my God, Erik Spoelstra has completely transformed the Miami Heat offense from everything we knew the Miami Heat to ever be. This is Spo's team. This is his offense. Look at what he did. Post Jimmy Butler, that's also part of this too. I think there's a strong narrative case here.
I agree with you, but let's weigh it against other teams that I'm looking at right now. JB Bickerstaff in Detroit, like that team is clicking, and the MVP case for Cade is strong, but I think his case, weighing it against Spurs, quickly, stronger or less strong?
Right now, stronger, because they're 15-2 and they've won 13 straight games. Bickerstaff, I don't want to take anything away from him. The job he's done in Detroit is tremendous. He right now is the FanDuel odds-on favorite at plus 300.
All right, Darko Rajakovic in Toronto.
Tremendous job with the Toronto Raptors. He will not win it because he coaches the Toronto Raptors, and those people don't win awards.
Damn. No, that's not true. Dwayne Casey won it.
And then he got fired. That's true.
And then he was fired, and
Dwayne Casey did win it, and then they got Kawhi Leonard, and then they won a championship under Nick Nurse. No, I shouldn't poo-poo Darko. You're correct. I think he's done a tremendous job with that Raptors team, but there's no narrative hook if they don't finish in the top 2 in the Eastern Conference for him.
What about the coach of Denver, David Alderman?
No.
That's just
Jokic. You don't get the credit. Same thing happened to Spo when they had LeBron. You're the best player in the world. You don't get the credit. Not going to happen.
Didn't Michael Malone ever win it? I'm trying to remember if he did or not, and honestly, I cannot remember. He didn't, right? I thought he was deserving. I think he was a hell of a coach.
Yep.
JJ Redick in Los Angeles. Is that a Luka factor too? Like right now, 12-4. It's the Lakers.
I think he'll be in the running, but I don't think he's got the hook that somebody like Bickerstaff or Spo has. But I think he'll be in the running. Also, Redick is a little polarizing among the voters, I'll say. Mark Daigneault won it last year for the Thunder. I think he'll be in the mix this year, especially if they win 75 games or whatever they're on the pace for.
It almost feels like that's a typical of where the coach of the year goes. It's like, again, like Erik Spoelstra won 66 games with the Miami Heat, and everybody's like, whatever.
Yeah, but if you break the record, like when the Warriors won 73, Steve Kerr got coach of the year.
Oh,
like it's almost to the point where like if you won the most games ever, you kind of have to give it to him.
I guess. Well, I mean, are you saying that do you think Oklahoma City makes a run at that 73-9 record?
Dude, they haven't even had Jalen Williams. They've won one game. They might back into 74 wins.
Oh,
that team is so freaking good, dude.
And they're only going to get better too. And I saw somebody. I don't remember where I saw this. It's like because J-Dub's missing this much time, he may not qualify for the Supermax, so he's going to get like a super cheap deal. So it's almost like what happened with Steph and the Warriors, where they were have enough money to re-sign or to sign KD.
But if also Steph and the Warriors had a potential top 5 pick in the middle of their dynasty, the Thunder have the Clippers pick in 2026, and the Clippers stink in a generational draft where there's 5 legitimate franchise guys. This is crazy.
It is.
Jaime Jaquez Jr. is the real answer. We'll talk about that next, plus a little preview of tonight's game against the Milwaukee Bucks.
Today's episode is brought to you by Drip Drop. When you're hydrated, everything just works better. Your focus, your energy, your mood, even your skin feels better. And that's why I've been using Drip Drop. It's doctor-developed hydration that keeps you running at full power, no matter what your day looks like. Drip Drop isn't your average sport drink. It delivers 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of leading brands, using a science-backed formula trusted by medical professionals, firefighters, and over 90% of top college and pro teams. Listen, you ever had that kind of a mid-afternoon just sluggishness kind of take over? And I know a lot of people down here in South Florida, for them, that's 3:05 is cafecito time. I get it. But for a lot of people, what you're just really experiencing is dehydration over the course of the day. And as long as you stay hydrated, you're going to feel much better. And that's where Drip Drop can really turn your day into a great opportunity, because it keeps you energized. It keeps you motivated. You don't feel that sluggishness throughout the rest of the day because of what they provide. Those electrolytes do help to keep you going. And hydration is just such an important part of making the most of your day. So right now, Drip Drop is offering podcast listeners like you 20% off your first order. Go to dripdrop.com. Use the promo code LOCKEDONNBA over at dripdrop.com. Promo code LOCKEDONNBA. Get 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits hard, and keep your body and mind performing at their best with Drip Drop. We'll be right back.
FanDuel has Jaime Jaquez Jr. as the favorite to win Sixth Man of the Year, and it's hard to disagree with them. He's third in the league in points per game off the bench, behind only Jeremy Grant and Quentin Grimes, and he's doing it on a much higher field goal percentage. He's third in the league in layups, ahead of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Giannis, according to Synergy. Damn. He's fifth in the league in total paint points. And for this Heat team, he's second in net rating, on-off net rating, behind only Bam Adebayo. The Heat are 10.1 points per 100 possessions better when Jaime Jaquez Jr. is on the court. He's been one of the more impactful players on the team for a surprise team, and for a team that is dominating in the paints, second in the league in points in the paint this season. You could argue that nobody has been more important to that factor than Jaime Jaquez Jr. He's checking every single box. FanDuel has him at plus 280 to win Sixth Man of the Year. AJ Mitchell for the Thunder is second at plus 750. I mean, he's basically the Victor Wembanyama of six men if Wemby was healthy. That's kind of where he is in terms of the odds right now.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense. Again, given what the Sixth Man of the Year award has turned into is offensive spark plug, the microwave that comes off the bench and provides a lot. And I think that's exactly what Jaime has been for all the, and I think there has been improvement defensively, but I think that's not necessarily the strength of his game. Yeah, exactly. That's not going to make the difference. Or Alex Caruso would have had that award locked up last year, or another player that comes.
Didn't Iguodala never win Sixth Man of the Year? Isn't that? It has. I don't. It's become a Yay Points. Right? I think John Hollinger calls it the Yay Points Award. I don't. That sounds almost dismissive. Like what Jaime is doing is empty calories. It's not just Yay Points, even though Yay Points, like lots of points. This is good. Like points are still the stat that matter the most in basketball. But like I said, he's doing it in a way that is
impactful
and kind of turning the Heat into the team that they are. The paint dominating team that is getting up and down. He probably more than anybody just sort of personifies what the Heat want to do on a possession to possession basis.
Absolutely. To see him flying down the court, taking the ball up and just immediately attacking the basket like that. Probably some of the most exciting moments of the season that has been a really exciting one between Norm Powell's quick decision making and his ability to hit from 3-point range and Jaime's ability to attack the Jaime Highway, as Eric Reed has put it. Like that is just fantastic. Like those moments have been so great for carrying Miami's offense and really helping to define it. Like when fans of other teams plug in and watch the Heat, that's what stands out. It's not Bam, as good as Bam is. It's not anybody else, really. It's not Davion Mitchell, really. I don't think that's what anybody's really noting. Nope. I think what you note is Powell and Jaime coming off the bench to be that kind of player because he's just energizing. Like it's fun to watch Jaime do what he does. I'm glad.
That's maybe the biggest feather in Jaime Jaquez Jr.'s hat here is when the voters are going through and thinking about who they were going to vote for Sixth Man of the Year. They're like, I love watching this guy play. I'm voting for him. He's going to win Sixth Man of the Year. He might also win the Emmy Award for most entertaining sixth man because he's so fun to watch. How do you not enjoy him getting into that spin move and everything that he's doing? You talk to people around the league and they're just like, wow, Jaime. Like this is a national story, what's going on with Jaime Jaquez Jr. Kind of in the way that, right, like The Ringer wanted a huge profile on him his rookie year that I wrote. Like, he's kind of a national guy that people are drawn to for whatever reason. Quickly, preview of tonight's game against the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis Antetokounmpo is listed as questionable. I texted Camille Davis, who hosts Locked On Bucks, asked her if you think if she thinks Giannis is going to play. She says not tomorrow. Tomorrow being Wednesday when the Heat play the Bucks. Doc Rivers said that both him and Kevin Porter Jr. are pretty close, but doesn't expect them to play against Miami. Giannis is going to travel with the team, which is why he's been upgraded to questionable, or listed as questionable, I should say. She did give the caveat Giannis may force the issue, but she'd be surprised if he plays. If Giannis plays, it's obviously a big deal. But other than that, what are you watching for in this one?
Ryan Rollins, right? I think that that's the spark plug, and then Bobby Portis, who's always the most annoying thorn in Miami's side of these Bucks matchups, even more so to me than Giannis Antetokounmpo. So Portis always finds a way to up his game a lot, and so how Miami defends him, I think we're looking at Wiggs returning to action and Powell returning to action on Wednesday. I think they've been upgraded so that they're likely to play. So that's going to be interesting. That Miami is going to have their first real challenge in terms of how to decide the starting lineup, and we'll see how it plays out, right? Am I missing something? I'm trying to remember exactly where the last injury report left it off. But
no, Powell's listed as probable. Wiggins has been upgraded to questionable, and so is Drew Smith. Nikola Jovic also questionable. So we'll see, right? But good chance that we at least see Powell and Herro.
Exactly. Okay.
And so with Wiggins out, I would imagine that makes the starting lineup question a little bit easier. Do you just go Davion, Herro, Powell, Bam, Ware?
Bam, Ware, absolutely.
Right, especially if Giannis is playing, you're going to want Bam on Giannis, Ware on Miles Turner, and you're as good as Ryan Rollins has been. You're not changing your lineup, but Davion Mitchell can chase Ryan Rollins around and kind of get into those pick and rolls and switch those sets if they need to. But
who guards Turner? Is it Ware or Bam?
I think it has to be. Well, I think that's where you get into the Giannis question, because if Giannis doesn't start, do you go a little bit smaller? I don't know.
Kyle Kuzma, right? They'll put Kyle Kuzma at the 4.
Yeah, I think you go Ware. I think you go Ware on Turner, and then let Bam either do whatever he wants with Kyle Kuzma or have to step up against Giannis.
Not a believer in Kuzma's impact this season?
Are you?
Absolutely not. I've never
Bucks
been a believer.
fans aren't.
No, I've never been a believer. I remember when a lot of people were claiming, this was back when he was at the Lakers, saying, he's the one player that Miami really needs. I was like, really?
He's power forward Terry Rozier. A lot of empty calories.
Oh, man.
Sorry, that's straight on to Rozier that he didn't deserve that.
Strays. Catching strays. Look at Terry. Hasn't he got through enough?
Wednesday night, we'll have our post-game reaction to Heat versus Bucks. And then for Thursday or Friday, we're going to publish our Heatsgiving special. You're not going to want to miss that. But that'll do it for us today. This has been Locked On Heat, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.